Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Here is my official makeup trial. So I'm going to be using a lot of new products from the haul that I did recently. And because I'm going to be doing my wedding makeup on my own, because I do not trust any makeup artist, and the couple of makeup artist trials that I did.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Taught me two things. First of all, it cost me a lot of money, and secondly, I don't trust my skin with them because I know my skin better. I wanted certain kind of looks that none of the makeup artists that I went to were able to create. So my official makeup trials begins. So I already did my skincare, and these are the products that I actually use today. And I feel like these are the products that actually set pretty well under my makeup. Did my skincare around 30 minutes prior. Primer I'm using today is by e.l.f. and this is their Power Grip, one of my favorite primers. I take about 2 pumps. Now while I am applying my primer, let's talk about why I'm doing my makeup on my own. If you followed my Kolkata series, then you might know that I went for a makeup trial and that went pretty bad. The makeup artist itself was pretty nice. I didn't like the makeup that she did on me.
It is what it is.
The type of product she used on me and the skin prep was horrendous. I did my skin prep and went in a cab, so my skin would be properly prepped once she does my makeup. But once I arrived, she asked about my skincare, what I'm using, and I showed her a picture because obviously it is not possible for me to get all of the skincare that I did. So I took a picture and I showed it to her, and the first thing is that, why Korean skincare? That was basically the first red flag. I was like, these are the products that actually suit me. And she was like, oh, I feel like Korean products are very overhyped. Maybe sometimes. This was basically the first conversation we had. I'm gonna let my primer sit for about like 5 minutes. Till then, let's talk. So then she did the most outrageous thing out there. Took a makeup remover wipe and wiped off all of the skincare, all of the skin prep I did.
You always say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
And these are all the products that I applied on my face that day. I had a nice skincare routine, and it is not heavy, not drying, not too oily. It is the perfect skin prep that anyone can ever do for makeup, and she just removed it all. Classic everywhere behavior. I'm a very short-tempered person, and that just tickled me in the wrong way. So I just kept my mouth shut. I trusted her. Then she actually put on a spray on me, and that is the most drying toner spray, makeup setting spray, makeup prepping spray that I have ever seen. I didn't see what she was using, but once she sprayed that on my face, this was the first thing that came out of my mouth, which is alcohol. She was like,
थोड़ा बहुत तो सब टोनर्स में अल्कोहल होता है.
and I was like, I think you need to do some research on good products and actually skincare in general. Coming from someone who does a lot of makeup under harsh light, under studio lights, and also natural light, and I've been doing my makeup for almost like 15 years now, I did a lot of trial and testing to get to where I am now, to know what she was doing wrong. My primer is kind of done, so I'm gonna go straight with my color corrector. And for color corrector, I'm using Dow Beauty color corrector. The Dow Beauty one is absolutely brilliant with my concealer, which is the Huda Beauty concealer. All of the shade names, all of the products would be mentioned in the bottom box below, so don't worry. If you want any makeup related tips kind of video, do let me know. But I take my pan, I put a little bit of color corrector with the concealer that is kind of like a true match for my shade. I just mix it up with my finger. I only apply it where I actually need it, which is around my eye area, and also a little bit on my eyelids because I have natural eye makeup shadows going on. I don't need a crease color. My crease is already colored. And I also apply a little bit around here. We all have it. I'm gonna let my color corrector sit for around like at least 2 minutes. And yeah, so where was I? Alcohol makeup spray. Yep. Don't ever use an alcohol based makeup spray on a client or yourself when you're seeing that skin is actually dry. And I appreciate alcohol in my sunscreen only on certain formulation, but alcohol in any other products kind of dries your skin out if you don't have a proper after skincare. After she applied that alcohol heavy makeup, whatever shit that was, she applied what I think is a hybrid between a primer and an illuminating base. I feel like it's the Embryolized cream or a kind of like a similar strobe cream, but even that one wasn't moisturizing at all. I'm gonna lightly set my face now. She didn't color corrected my face at all. What she did was apply a heck load of foundation. Like mixing two different formulation of foundation is something that I absolutely hate. Kind of hinders how a product is gonna sit on your skins. Another red flag that I noticed in her makeup application process. Problem is that if you don't color correct properly or just layer random concealer and then put a foundation over it, it just makes your skin pretty gray. And to cover that, you're gonna put more products, which makes it so drying and cakey. I'm gonna layer a little bit of under highlight like this. This is MAC Strobe Cream in Pink Light. While the MAC Strobe Cream is setting, talking a little bit about what kind of makeup I'm doing for my wedding. So these are all the inspo pictures of my actual wedding makeup. I want a very ethereal vibe, and I also want my makeup to look pretty natural, not like completely different personality. Like, you know how makeup artists like completely change you? I don't want that. I want to look like myself. I want to look very like dreamy, ethereal, this kind of the vibe of my wedding. And have two events on the same day, which is very fun and hectic. So the first one, the Christian wedding, is gonna be very like ethereal, Witcher meets Jane Austen, kind of like vibe, vintage, medieval kind of makeup, which is the look that I'm gonna create today. And the evening makeup, again, I'm gonna be doing in some other videos with another fun story time. But yeah, this is overall how the makeup is gonna be. I'm gonna be using a little bit of concealer underneath. So I have a little bit of discoloration or acne marks right here. I'm gonna just dab it right there. I just placed my concealer where I actually need it. Now that I've blended the concealers a little bit, I'm gonna let it sit for around like 3 to 4 minutes. Coming back to the whole fiasco of my makeup artist. So what she did next, after applying that horrendous primer, oh my god, my skin felt so tight and so greasy at the same time. I know I have pretty combo to dry skin, but that primer or whatever she put on made my skin feel very heavy and greasy, and I was sweating a lot although there was AC. So I'm just gonna lightly tap it and blend it. I'm using a Real Technique concealer brush for this. And once again, all of the links of everything that I'm using would be mentioned in the bottom box below. Now, one thing about me, I'm not sure if you guys know, is that apart from skincare, I love makeup. Even before, like, my love for makeup was always there. I still remember I was the only one in the school who used to apply makeup and go, not like foundation and stuff, like pretty grungy eyeshadows and kajal. I was very emo, and I was kind of like this rebellious kid in my school, and uh, I used to do a lot of stuff that you're not meant to do. FYI about me. I'm gonna again lightly set my face with the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder. Just gonna apply on the areas that I applied concealer. My base is all set now. I'm gonna move ahead with the foundation. The foundation I'm using today is the Superstay Lumi Matte. I used to hate this foundation, but off late when I actually got a shade that matched my skin perfectly, I fell in love with this foundation. So normally I use pretty high coverage foundation when I'm doing my makeup in front of camera, like Charlotte Tilbury or Estee Lauder or sometimes even Clinique. But today I'm going to be using a pretty medium coverage, and that is the kind of foundation that I'm looking for my wedding. And also I'm going to be building like a mini bridal kit, essential products that I need in my bridal day apart from the products that I have. So stay tuned for that. I'm gonna lightly warm it up. Now, what I've seen with this particular foundation or any medium coverage foundation is that if you want a little bit more coverage, you need to first like apply it like this rather than submerging your brush in the foundation and going in thin layers. That is pretty great with high coverage foundation, but if you want a medium coverage to act like full coverage, you need to go on and blend your foundation firstly with the help of your fingers directly rather than submerging your brush and like saturating your brush with the product, because these kind of low to medium coverage foundation kind of like disappears when you do that. I'm gonna go with my foundation brush, take whatever is left with that one pump of foundation, completely disperse the product on my brush like this, and I'm gonna be doing a stripling motion, tapping motion, whatever you want to call it. Now, you don't want to be sweeping a lot, especially where you applied your concealer and color corrector. You just want to do this tap tap motion and applying it in thin layers. So in total, I'm using 2 pumps of this foundation to cover my entire face. I'm not gonna do my neck because I have not properly prepped my outfit with napkins. Now on the second coverage, however, you can disperse the product evenly like this. Brush should look something like this. I'm going to be only applying on the areas that you actually need coverage. Now my makeup from the picture might look very simple, but to get that kind of flawless base and to get that kind of like ethereal luminosity and lit from within look and the depth of colors, need to be pretty good in makeup to actually achieve that and not look patchy, because most of the times pink eyeshadows, duochrome shades or purpley shades tend to wash us Indian skin tone a lot. You need to properly figure out what kind of undertone pink you need to use, how to fix a gray area, how to fix a patchy area, how to not overblend the eyeshadow. These are the things that as a makeup artist or as a person who is doing your own makeup for the wedding, I wanted to know. And I really thank my curiosity of makeup that I kind of like nailed the base, and working with colors is something that I always used to love. I would show you some embarrassing pictures of mine. This was in 8th standard when I first initially got my phone, a phone appropriate for clicking selfies, not like those tipped up ones. So yeah, my 8th standard makeup. I would say it's pretty solid for a girl actually saving her pocket money and buying good makeup. Base makeup, I always used to like save a lot and get the best. I still remember the first ever MAC product I got was in 10th standard or 11th standard. I saved a lot of money for 6 months and I got MAC Studio Fix powder foundation and also MAC Studio Fix spot concealer. I used to use throughout the year and then again save and again buy the same product. So I at least had like 4 or 5 refills. And back then, I think still now MAC has this policy that if you bring back their empties, they give you a lipstick free. Apply a little bit on your ear. Usually, what I do is that I take whatever there is in the pan, disperse it evenly, and apply it all over my neck, which I'm not gonna be doing today. Bring it aside and kind of like F up my makeup. I can fix it with that foundation brush. This is how 2 layers of Maybelline Lumi Matte Foundation looks on a medium to olive undertone like mine. I have the shade 250, which is a perfect shade match for me. I'm gonna let it dry and let's resume my horrendous makeup experience. So talk about another thing that really ticked me off when she was doing my makeup. If I'm not wrong, she did mix 2 NARS foundation. We should not never mix 2 different brand foundation, but you should also never mix 2 different formulation. That is the kind of thing that I always follow. So she mixed light reflecting with soft matte, which is kind of like makes sense with like coverage makeup. You need a matte foundation, but sometimes you want that luminosity as well. So she did that, but that looked very patchy, very drying, and very full coverage. Now, some foundation do look pretty good in full coverage, such as the Estee Lauder one that looked flawless, but whatever she did, whatever she mixed it with, didn't sit on my skin that well. So I'm gonna be applying my concealer again, taking it here. I'm gonna evenly disperse the product on my brush like this because this is a very high coverage concealer, but it's also pretty drying. So searching for a good under eye concealer that is super hydrating, doesn't moves, also doesn't crease a lot. I place the concealer first on the areas that I need a little bit of coverage, then I'm gonna blend it later. I'm not wearing contacts today, by the way, and I have genetic eye cataract, so that's a very nice combination that nobody should ever have. So I'm gonna lightly blend the edges and also this part that everyone misses for some reason, even the makeup artist did. And also these lines, slightly tapping, sweeping it all throughout my eyelid. I also want a pot concealer for like a little bit of coverage that I might need later. For example, acne marks or under concealing. So I'm gonna either go with my tried and tested MAC Studio Fix Spot Concealer. I hope it's still available, or the NARS Spot Concealer. So I'm gonna let that sit. I want a brightening concealer, by the way. And of late, I've been loving to mix a little bit of yellow corrector with my normal concealer and just mixing it to get this brightness under my eye. So I have very hollow eyes and also hooded eyes, which is a combination again that is pretty hard to correct. Just gonna place it right here, not under my eyes, right here. I'm gonna make a triangle. Does that look like a triangle? But yeah, you get the point. I'm gonna lightly contour my nose. I'm gonna be lightly blending this. Past 20 minutes now, and I am still doing my base, and that is how makeup should be. So while that thing is setting, I'm gonna apply a little bit of eyeshadow primer. I'm using the Urban Decay one, my absolute favorite for almost like 6-7 years now, and it sets pretty matte, so you don't need to set your eyes. So by now my concealer is almost I would say set. I take a Q-tip with a pointy edge and I just remove these creases. I'm not sure you can actually see, but I just remove the extra bit of product. And I take the same brush, lightly blend it. Contour, I'm using the e.l.f. bronzer plus contour in the shade tan bronze. Not overly contour my face. I'll place it right here. You feel the bone? I'll place it right here. I'm gonna be only applying it here. I don't like to apply it here, but I have pretty square and wide and round face. If I contour it here, it just makes my face look pretty like pushed down. So now there are a little bit of harsh lines. So what I like to do is I go ahead with my foundation brush and just go over it. If I feel a little bit of color is lost, I go ahead and build the color. So I'm pretty confused about my ethereal look. Most of the painterly or pre-Raphaelite or ethereal kind of makeup uses a mix of red and coral on their cheeks, but you also have to consider that these kind of paintings are mostly on European women, and us Indians have a little bit of warmness, a little bit of, especially me, I have a lot of green tones on me. So what I feel is gonna look great is a combination of a plum kind of color like the Fair Beauty one and a red color. Now I don't have a red blush in my collection, but I did get my old classic favorite Russian red. Yeah, so coming on to the first makeup. So by the way, the thing that I mentioned that you can get any MAC lipstick if you take your MAC empties. So the first lipstick I ever tried was MAC's Ruby Woo, because all of the influencers, all of the Indian influencers raving about MAC's Ruby Woo. And when I applied it, it looked very bad, very vibrant. So I wasn't quite a big fan of Ruby Woo still now. And there was another lipstick that was more meant to be for fair skin tone, which was MAC's Russian Red, which is a cool tone red compared to the very warm tone red of Ruby Woo. Russian Red looked beautiful on my skin. So I'm gonna take this plummy shade, first applying it. I'm gonna start around here and then I'm gonna go. Now, most of the Raphaelite makeup I've seen places vertical blush and to give the illusion of fuller cheeks, but I already have pretty full cheeks. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna mix a little bit of Igari blush technique, which I used to do way back when this kind of blush trend went viral. That is basically like a Japanese way or very Asian way of giving a flush, especially Japanese, because they do a lot of cosplays and a lot of anime makeup is kind of like that. Also bringing it a little bit down. I'm gonna take a little bit on the palm of my hand. I'm gonna take this red, evenly again disperse it on my brush, and I'm gonna layer my blush. Plummy but also red at the same time. Cool tone but not too cool tone that will wash me out. So this is a beautiful shade. This might look a lot, but once I powder my face, it's gonna be all right. And just for now, I'm just depositing the color. Little bit on my nose, little bit here, and whatever is left, I'm just gonna be sweeping it. Typically for blush, most people stop it right here, but for pre-Raphaelite, because it has that vertical kind of a blush, so I'm gonna be applying it here as well. Not much, just a little bit. I feel I have deposited a lot more color on this side, so I'm gonna quickly fix it with my foundation brush. Now I'm gonna set my makeup. I think my under eyes are pretty set. I'm just gonna go lastly with my concealer brush and blend the lines. I always like to go with brush, apply very thin layer. I take a little bit of powder, tap it on my hand, and then I set it. Now I sweat a lot, and this is the only reason I'm setting my makeup. If you don't sweat a lot, don't set all over your face. And I mostly sweat on my face. That is a problem that me and my best friend have. So I'm gonna be using this Mars triangle puffs. Never use them. So this is the first time I'm using them. Taking a little bit of product. I have pretty dry under eyes, and I don't overly powder my face. Just take enough to slightly bake, not bake too much though. I place it right here on my crease. I also set especially this smile line. For some reason, this side of my face is super drying, so this under eye looks very patchy no matter what concealer, no matter what powder I use, and this smile lines always cracks. So yeah, depending on my eye look, I tend to do my eyebrows, and because this look is very simple, we have pretty thick brows, which I'm very proud of. But yeah, let's go ahead with my eye makeup. 3 palettes. The first one is the new one that I got, and this has pretty great, I would say, transition color, a really great shimmer colors, and this is great for my Indian look. I'm gonna be taking this almost like terracotta kind of shade and mixing it with this brown shade, and I'm gonna go all over my lid, and I'm gonna slightly go above my crease because it's hooded eye that we are working on, and we need to build a false crease. Slightly tapered blending brush, taking the Makeup Revolution Forever Flawless palette. Gonna be mixing this pink with this mauvey or nudish pink kind of color. Gonna be putting it kind of like all over on the lid, especially in the outer part of my lid. I have more power in this eye, so I'm pretty much blind when I'm blending this part. Obviously, I'm gonna be using a nicer palette than this for my wedding. Either gonna buy the Pat McGrath Utopian Dream palette or the NARS Afterglow palette. Another palette I really want to get is the Sunlit Seduction. Many people hate, but that is the kind of color story that is gonna be in my wedding. So my outfit, my jewelry is gonna be very monochromatic, and I also want my morning look to be kind of like this kind of vibe. Taking a little bit of like similar shade, but I feel like this is leaning toward a nude kind of like transition shade. Now I want to add a little bit of dimension right here. I have this Root Cosmetics palette to get some monochromatic shade. So far I got only 2 in my collection, but this is also one of such monochromatic eyeshadow palette that would be really great if I was a purple lover. Amarnath shade from this palette, just a teeny tiny bit, and this is one such indie brand I would like to say that does really great eyeshadows. I'm gonna just deposit that pink color right here, only on my outer. These are very pigmented. I'm taking it off and then I'm placing them. I'm gonna take this a little bit on my crease as well. I might as well kind of ruin this whole eye look by putting too much pink, but it's kind of blending it to look more cohesive. Take a more fluffy brush now, and I'm gonna try to move that pink a little bit. I'll take this concealer brush. I want to clean up this part. I'm gonna be taking the lighter shade of that transition color and placing it right here. Duochrome eyeshadow that I found, which claims to be a dupe of the Urban Decay Moondust eyeshadow in Solace, and I'm gonna be applying this first to see if I ruin the makeup. I might ruin my makeup, but I'm gonna take it with my fingers. I'm gonna place it. Okay, this might not be too bad. This looks beautiful. It still feels pretty powdery, feels much drier than the Urban Decay one. I can get patchy because it's a duochrome eyeshadow. It's kind of saving itself. I'm gonna go with my good old Cosmic eyeshadow from Urban Decay. Some setting spray. I forgot to put setting spray. I forgot to put setting spray before my powder. Oh my god. This is what, because I'm filming makeup videos for the first time, I just forgot that I needed to set my face before the powder. I'm gonna take the brush, take a little bit of this eyeshadow, place it on the innermost corner. Kinda looking a little bit patchy. for some reason with the color. I'm gonna try to take this rose gold shade right here. This is much better, but it also slightly warms my look, which I'm not a fan of. You know what? I'm gonna go with my teeny tiny fingers and actually apply the Urban Decay how it should be. Yep. Definitely much better. But is it giving an ethereal vibe? I'm not sure. Also gonna take a little bit and put it right here. Am I happy with my look? I don't think so, but let's move on. This is my first trial. I didn't want it to like stress it out. I just wanted to play around with the colors and kind of theme that I'm going for. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dust off the excess powder from my under eyes. And then I'm gonna work on my Agusar. So I'm gonna take this small, experimenting a little bit and take this Luna shade right here. A lot of flakes. I might have to use a glitter glue. This might ruin my makeup, but hey. Now, I don't want to cry in my wedding, but I want glitter tears. So this is the close thing that we are gonna do some glitter tears. This is the kind of like tears that I want in my wedding. I think I forgot to bring the glitter glue and I don't feel like going to the other room. So we are gonna just deposit the color like this. Placing this on the middle of my eyelids. And I like to make this look more cohesive. Now there's a lot of glitter on my face, which I don't hate. But many of you people will be like, hey, Maitri, you can't do your makeup. So I'm just gonna dust it off. I am pretty happy with my eye look. So I'm gonna tightline my eyes with a brown liner. And for my lower lash line, I'm gonna go vertically like this. And that is gonna elongate the eye. Very subtle eyes. I want the makeup to look good in person because if it looks good in person, pretty sure it's gonna look good in videos as well. For photos, you can usually fix it with a little bit of retouching, but you can't fix real life. So yeah, I added a little bit of definition there. Too sparkly, but I want the makeup to look like that. I'm gonna do the most important thing, drawing my eyes, and I'm gonna be just stop and zip it and do my eyes because I need full concentration for this step. I have two options, a little bit elongated wing right there. I did a dual wing. And this is more like a doe wing. I'm not sure which I'm gonna do, but I think I'm gonna stick with this wing and correct that. Now it's time to clean up whatever mess I created. Pretty much my eye makeup is done. Obviously today I'm not even wearing contacts, so I'm gonna skip my false lashes and I'm just gonna apply this falsies mascara from Maybelline. And because I don't like spider lashes, always go ahead with this. Now, one more thing that I want to talk about the makeup artist thing is that mascara she applied, if I'm not wrong, is L'Oreal Panoramic Mascara. And she applied quite, I think 2 layers or 3 layers, I'm not sure. But that kind of clumped up on my lashes, and I have used that mascara in the past. I have never faced that issue. So either that mascara was expired or because she uses it a lot of air went into it. And I was expecting her to separate my lashes like this, but she didn't. So I had to say to her that it's looking like spider waves. Please fix it at least. So she did. For some reason, there's always something wrong with this part of my face. It's not even curling properly. So I'm gonna put some falsies and hope for the best. She didn't even do this, like put the excess out. So maybe she did. I don't know. I might be wrong. It's been a while since that thing or that incident happened. And I kind of want to forget that because a lot of money went for that trial. I'm gonna go with another coat on this one because I feel I need a little bit of warmth as I'm not applying falsies today. In the next makeup trial, I'm sure I would, but on this, I don't have my contacts, so I'm skipping it. I'm gonna go again with my separator, and we are officially done with the mascara. Finally, I hate mascara. I hate the application of mascara, but I love the effect. Oh, we are almost at the end of it. This video has gone for too long. I'll show you a close-up of this later, but this is how much of a clump that can actually ruin your eye makeup. It's not a lot, but if you do these kind of small steps, kind of helps for your makeup to look flawless in person rather than focusing too much on the cameras and videos because those are edited footages mostly. Done with my eye look. Pretty happy. I feel like the Swiss Beauty one needs a little bit of glitter glue because it is kind of separating on some places. But yeah, overall this is the vibe. Add a little bit of waterline kajal. It makes a huge difference when you see it in person. Let's focus it on the lips. I want to keep my lips very like bitten, pinkish, very nudish, but also a little bit of red at the same time. So we are gonna mix and match a lot of colors. So take a little bit of concealer and conceal my lips. Because I have pigmented lips, and sometimes these kind of like light shade when I don't sit well, even if I apply a line. I'm gonna quickly set it with this powder puff. This is, by the way, Muddy Brick from Mars. I'm gonna slightly smudge this color outside my lips as well. Was it more color? I'm gonna take this red liner and build it up around here. Gonna be putting a little bit of depth in my lips, and for that I'm using the Fay Beauty liner. Now you might be thinking that Moita, you already concealed your natural lip contour, why are you bringing it back? Everything is intentional. We just want to own something that we don't have. And in makeup, sometimes I want to bring back the features that I already have, but in a more controlled manner. I don't have a lip color that I have in mind to actually have that one shade for my wedding. So I'm kind of taking a lot of shades that I feel like goes well with that painterly vibe. This is from Fenty and this is in the shade Riri. I'm gonna be applying it. This is one of the most comfortable lip formulas ever. I'm gonna take a nude pinkish kind of shade. This in itself is looking really nice. So I want a similar kind of that transition shade we used, very muddy brick red but orange at the same time. I'm gonna sheer this lip out. I need to hotspot one more shade, which is this Nykaa Cosmetics newest launch, and it's in the shade Chai. I think that was the right decision. This is one lip that I'm considering. Also want to see how a bright lip would look in this look. So right now I'm gonna layer the Russian red. Yeah. We are gonna hodgepodge one more shade because I want that kind of like a bitten look to my lips, and for that I'm gonna be using the most affordable lip gloss that I own, but the most repurchased lip gloss ever, because I seldom repurchase my lip glosses and this is the only one that I ever do. Almost like aged blood kind of lip gloss right here. Now I try to blend it while swishing my lips together, but it's kind of not working with a lot of other lipstick that I've layered. So I'm gonna take my fingers and do this. This is the look. This is the look. Finally, it's time for my brows, and I'm just covering this part. I don't want anything to look pretty made up because the whole theme is medieval and I don't think anybody used brow gel back then, so I'm not using it. But I sometimes take a little bit of this e.l.f. Primer. It also kind of sets my eyebrows. This part is very crucial because I forgot to set my makeup in layers, and especially before putting powder. I'm gonna reactivate all of the powders and I'm gonna again blend it and put powder. I let the setting spray completely dry down, and then I take a beauty blender, again put the setting spray all over, make it a little bit damp, and then I again press this on the areas that I want to make them last long. Now I'm just setting the blush with a little bit of this dusty pink blush from K Beauty, and finally my favorite part, the liquid illuminator. I am using the K.1. Now I use this lip brush actually to apply these highlighters. So I take this silicone part and apply it wherever I want. Then I go ahead with my brush and blend it out. I think I should do a little bit of nose contouring. My favorite highlighter ever, the Becca Champagne Pop. I've seen a lot of ethereal makeup focus on this part a lot. We're gonna also set our contour a little bit here. It's almost like 2 hours. I'm still doing my makeup. I'm gonna take this topper shade. One more thing before we end the look, and I'm gonna make amethyst freckles on my face. I'm gonna take a huge amount of it and I'm just gonna place it here. Now this might look very scary to some of you guys, but this is the kind of like look I am going for. So my makeup is almost finished. I'm gonna quickly do my hair and show you a closer. So this is the finished look. I'll zoom in a bit. So this is my finished makeup look. You can see the glitter speckles when I move my light. Let me show you a quick close-up as well.
It's payback time.
I need to find a good chunky glitter that can do the freckle effect. This is the kind of look that I want to do for my wedding. Here are a couple of things that I wanted to find for my wedding. So you can also make a checklist. Help me out. Find a good medium to full coverage foundation, not a full coverage. I don't want full coverage for my wedding. So a medium buildable coverage foundation which looks very luminous. Secondly, I want to find a lot of duochrome and ethereal sparkling eyeshadows to do that glittery kind of eye effect. Thirdly, I want to find a perfect kind of painterly pre-Raphaelite lip and cheek color so that that looks cohesive. I think this is looking a little bit more plummy. I need a little bit more red, like true tone red that will suit my complexion. Overall, this is a pretty solid first try or first trial for my Christian wedding. Makeup like this might look simple, but it takes a lot of steps, a lot of techniques to make sure that it looks damn good in real life and also in videos and photos. So yeah, if you like makeup videos such as this, do let me know. I love makeup as much as I love skincare, and I would love to share what I know with you guys so that every one of us can have a good makeup day. If you want to see the trial of my Indian wedding as well, do let me know in the comment box below, and I will see you soon. So bye bye and take care.